Hello and welcome to the Intuitive Health Studio podcast. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's podcast. We are talking about all things sleep, how to support your sleep routine, sleep cycle, because your sleep should be your number one priority. It should be something that you are actively trying to support every single day, because when we are sleeping, we are in what's called the parasympathetic nervous system state, which is our rest, digest, and heal state. And so if we're not sleeping properly, we are not getting into this state, which means that other processes and systems in our body aren't being restored. So in today's podcast, I really wanted to dive into some rituals and some intentional habits that you can integrate for your sleep routine to support your sleep routine. And just a disclaimer, this is all just for educational purposes only. If you are looking to change things in your regime or diet, make sure that you consult a healthcare practitioner beforehand. But I really wanted to give you just general guidance on how to support your sleep and things that you can implement to support your sleep. So if you didn't know me, my name is Kelsey. I am a clinical naturopath and the owner and founder of the Intuitive Health Studio. In last week's podcast, we talked about morning rituals and the importance of a morning routine or intentional morning routines. So that is in episode 4. So if you wanted to listen to that after you listen to this episode, I highly recommend it. But I mentioned in there the importance of looking at your sleep. So I really wanted to dive into that today. So first things first is I want you to take one step back and look at your sleep and how much you actually get per night. So what time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? How long does it actually take for you to get to sleep? And how many times a night are you actually waking up during the night? We really want our sleep to be at least between 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep per night. And I know this is different for everyone. Everyone has kids, they have pets, they have their cat that is scratching at the curtains. So it's going to look differently, but that is the goal, is to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, because this actively allows your body to rest, digest, and heal. So when we're looking at the sleep cycle, we really want to understand that we have an internal clock, which is called our circadian rhythm. And we also have this complex hormonal shift, which is led by a hormone called melatonin. So this, when we're getting ready for sleep, melatonin is released by the pineal gland in response to different signals that is telling our body to sleep. We also have other hormones like progesterone and adenosine that helps with this and with the reduction of cortisol. But we really need to support this circadian rhythm alignment to help with this sleep state. So if you feel like you're struggling to get to sleep, it could be due to these hormones not being in proper alignment, or your circadian rhythm not being in proper alignment due to things that you're doing in your lifestyle. So some things that can kind of bring our sleep pattern off kilter include anything that is too stimulating. So I'm talking about too much like TV shows or gaming or reading intense books, anything that is too stimulating for the body, especially that blue light or the phone and the TV can also be stimulating. Any caffeine that's too close to bedtime. So I usually tell my clients or talk to them about that and ask them what time of the day that they have their last caffeinated drink. And really we want to make sure that we're having the drink at least 5 to 6 hours before we actually want to go to bed. And this allows our body to actually digest and get rid of the caffeine before we want to go to sleep. And another thing that can influence our sleep is temperature. So if the room is too hot, if it's too cold, if our temperature isn't in the proper balance, this can also affect our sleep quality. Other things can affect our sleep quality include our nervous system regulation. So going back to the cortisol, if we are in a constant state of fight or flight, which is our sympathetic nervous system response, we have a lot of things going on and we are not able to regulate our nervous system enough. This can also make our interrupted sleep. And I don't know about you, but I've definitely had those nights where I've woken up multiple times a night and then I've just started thinking about things that probably I don't need to think about at 2 a.m. in the morning. But that's because your nervous system is just in this constant state of fight or flight, and you haven't put in the proper mechanisms to actually relax your body and help your body feel safe for sleep. Other things that can contribute is diet or alcohol or chronic diseases or illnesses can also affect our sleep and our sleep quality, including like pain, or if our mattress is also not great for us, and that can affect how our body feels when we want to go to sleep and we want to help our body feel safe for sleep, and our body's just like, this is not the right environment for sleeping. So from that, I want you to just ask yourself a couple of questions. Is how is your sleep routine? How do you actually prepare your body for sleep? Do you literally just get home from work and then try and go to sleep straight away? Maybe you have dinner really late because you're watching TV shows. Maybe you are just on your phone scrolling. Maybe you're sitting in bright lights. Like, all of these things can affect sleep. So I want you just to take a step back and understand, okay, what do I actually do for my sleep routine and my sleep hygiene, and how is my sleep overall? Do I feel like I feel well rested in the morning? Do I feel like I could still sleep if I didn't have an alarm? Do I feel like I could take naps throughout the day? So we want to get you to a stage that your sleep is feeling well, feeling great. And a couple of things that we can do is really support our sleep routine and sleep hygiene. So sleep hygiene is the routine that you do before you sleep. So you are essentially preparing your body to go to sleep. So we're supporting this melatonin rise, these other hormones to rise, and the cortisol to come down. So a couple of things that you can do is turn off electronics, or making sure that you're on night mode, not watching anything too stimulating before you go to bed, and doing this like 30 minutes to an hour before bed. One thing that I really, really love doing is going to bed at the same time every night. I know this isn't possible for everyone, but going to bed at the same time helps set this circadian clock, helps your body have this routine as like 9 p.m, this is my night time, this is my sleep time. And then 6 a.m, this is when I wake up. Your body loves routine. It loves this consistency. So having a time that you go to sleep every night and waking up in the morning can help with this sleep pattern. If we really want to support our body to get to sleep, one thing I want you to look at is your stress response. Do you feel like you're consistently stressed throughout the day and then that's affecting your sleep? How can you implement some small tweaks in your day to support your stress response? And then before bed, how can you even further support your stress response? So I really love to have herbal teas. So herbal teas like passion flower or lemon balm or chamomile, just to really relax my nervous system. I like to dim the lights, so putting on lamps rather than having the big overhead lights, and reading or listening to soft lo-fi music, and really just setting myself up to, okay, this is my time to wind down. We're moving into that parasympathetic nervous system state. Making sure that your room is nice and quiet, you have a cool room, you're having blackout curtains, or you're really just setting it up for it's time to sleep. Another thing that I touched on before is caffeine and alcohol. So definitely making sure that you have a good space between when you're going to sleep and caffeine, because that can interrupt your sleep cycle, but also alcohol. If you have like a wine or something in the evening of a glass of alcohol or some alcohol, making sure that you have it a couple of hours before you're intending to go to sleep, so it can help with this natural hormone shift that occurs. So your sleep cycle is super important, and I've actually created just a mini masterclass that goes for 29 minutes, which talks about your sleep, but also talks about supporting your sleep and supporting your overall healthy well-being. It talks about nutrition and building self-awareness. So if you're wanting to really get a head start on building these healthier habits, I'll leave it in the show notes below, but it's only $7 and it goes for 29 minutes, but it really talks about the basics of nutrition and hydration and how to actually implement these healthy habits, including supporting your sleep, because it is, like I mentioned, your number one priority. I also have other things that I really like to use in clinic. So because sleep is complex, there's so many different moving parts, really getting a good holistic understanding of everything that's been going on is really beneficial. So if you are wanting that accountability and wanting that extra support, you can definitely reach out and book a one-on-one consultation with me. I offer them online, Australia-wide, and in person in my clinic, in my in-person clinic. So I'll leave that link in the show notes below. But hopefully this episode gave you some insights on how to support your sleep, how to support this hormone shift, and really building this really nice routine around your sleep schedule, and why it is so important as well. We really want to help your body get that restful sleep so your body can function the way that it needs to. It can digest properly, it can build that energy, it can build your reproductive system, like your hormone regulation, it can regulate your nervous system. It is so important that we are getting our restful sleep, and hopefully this episode has given you some insights on some tools and tricks that you can implement to help with your sleep. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please leave a 5-star review on whatever streaming platform you are listening to it on. But thank you so much, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye.